Hello, Illumineers, and welcome to the Nerdstrom household. My name is Nerdstrom, and right here, right now, we've got the number four seed for the Nerdstrom House Championship sitting in a Cinderella box on a bed of the family Madrigal. um, we've got Amber Steel songs, um, and I gotta tell you, man, there's a reason why this title is what it is. I looked at the deck, fanned it out. I looked at it at all the layout, the way that it was designed, and honestly, and this is gonna be a shout out to all the few fans that I do have that may or may not be interested in Eurovision. I have to ask the question about this deck: what the hell just happened? I don't know what went on when I created this deck. I think it's the result of trying out new decks and having so much steel represented in this set seven championship, and unfortunately having to salvage and kind of pickpocket the Amber Steel song deck along the way in order to make other decks work. This is the reason why this is an abomination of a deck. And considering Amber Steel really hasn't had a lot of play this set here in the Nerdstrom household, I haven't really been able to proofread this deck at the same time too. So what I was usually doing is like, okay, I'm taking cards out to make a certain deck work, and then throwing some other cards in that may or may not be viable. You never know. The fact that it was able to retain the number two seed as long as it has is astonishing to me. And I don't know. I don't know how it's going to fare in this set. For all we know, it could actually end up like dropping in ranking as we go. Could drop in the first round. You never know. But yeah, this is a weird deck, and I don't know what to say when we do this, but you just have to see this for yourself. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this deck. So we're going to go ahead and start with our one drops. Altogether, I have 12, which usually kind of sits fair for what I normally try to do as far as the layout of certain decks. It is an Amber Steel Songs deck, so right off the bat, we got to start with 4 Cinderellas. It's a singer 3, so even though it's a one drop, it's allowed to sing songs that are cost 3 or less, which means you can do turn 2 things like Storm Rage On, Strength of Raging Fire, things like that. And then you've got, here's where the fun begins, okay? We've got 4 Mulans. Now, when you play this character, you can draw a card, then choose and discard a card. If for some reason you don't get a Cinderella, you can at least use a Mulan to at least regain your card draw and keep that momentum going. Lots of people would use things like Robin Hood or the Queen package, and I did briefly consider putting the Queen package back into this deck. It didn't end up going as I was thinking. I think it's mostly because the song count on this one is a little bit interesting, and that's why I didn't. Not to mention, usually the Queen ends up being a potential target pretty quickly, and before you can even do anything, it ends up getting knocked out. And then the last set of one drops, I've got 4 Neverlands. It is a one drop with 4 willpower, and it quests for 1 each at the beginning of each turn. If you notice, there's a couple of stables that are missing. I don't have 4 daisies. The reason why I don't have 4 daisies is because in order for turn dogs to work and be an aggro deck, you need to have 4 daisies, and I only own 4 daisies, and I can't play what I don't have. So that's one of the main reasons why that's not there. I already mentioned Queen is not in here. I also did mention why I also could have put Robin Hood inside of this deck, but in order for Blue Steel to work, I need to have Robin Hood in the thing, and I do not have more Robin Hoods than the 4 that I do have. So that's the reason why it's set up. But Neverland kind of takes the place of the Daisy in that you can still at least quest for one. It's got 4 willpower. It'll stick around for a couple of turns. Locations are hard to kind of get rid of within the first couple of turns, and so like you can usually stick around for quite a bit. And you can hopefully guarantee at least like 2 lore, maybe 3 per turn. So yeah, that's the reason why Neverland's there. Not to mention it's also an inkable card, unlike Daisy, which is not. So you can always do that, and then you don't have to worry about when Daisy triggers, putting another character in your opponent's deck at the same time too. So that's the reason why that's there. Now, 2 drops. I've got 3 Troubadours. It's got resist 1. It's also a singer 4. So will 1/3 stat line. Quest for 1. This is all about getting your 4-drop characters as soon as possible. I know a lot of people like to use Ursula in their decks, and totally a viable card at the same time too. But it is an ally, and you'll see in a second why allies are really important in having them be as frequent, being as common in this deck as it is in this one. I also do have 3 Mr. Smees. At the end of your turn, if this character is exerted and you don't have a captain character in play, deal 1 damage to this character. There are no captains in this deck. Yeah, I could have probably put a Captain Hook inside of there or something like that, like a 1-drop Captain Hook, but not the case. And so it's still here. But you know, Mr. Smee has always been a venerable addition to any steel deck. The only thing that's unfortunate is I don't have 4 of these ones, at least not in this one. I do have 4 in another deck that I've been prepping for quite a while. But yeah, that's the way it is. All right, now we've got our 3 drops, and we've got 4 aerials. Can't have a Steel Song deck without 4 aerials inside of here. It's a Singer 5, and when you play this character, you can look at the top 4 cards in your deck and reveal a song card and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. This is a staple of the Steel Song decks. It's about searching for those songs that you need. Does it fail? Yeah, it fails, but it's good to know it's there, and it's good to know that you have the ability to potentially get more songs so that your singers can actually do the job of singing. You also kind of notice that most of it is kind of leaning more towards the singing aspect. I want to have a better chance of singing the songs that I'm supposed to be singing. Speaking of being able to sing, let's take a look at these 3 Gastons. These are Singer 5s, but it does have a 3/3 stat line. It's great because it doesn't drop to Brawl, and it'll take a while before a person might have to use Medusa if you are playing a Ruby deck. So until then, Gaston can stick around and sing songs. It can't gather any new songs, but at least if you do have any 5-drop 5-count songs, you can still use them, and it's a pretty solid addition on there. Then you got 4 Pete's. When you play this character, opponents can't play actions until the start of your next turn. Just a great way to interrupt and pause the momentum of any opponent. I've got 2 Lawrences. While this character has no damage, he gets 4 strength. He also does quests for 2. It's just to kind of get some kind of edge in terms of lore gain, especially because Neverland, it will kind of do whatever it can. Mr. Smee will do whatever it can. Lawrence will do whatever it can to kind of do these things. Also, if you do need to pop off and hit somebody as quick as you can with 4 damage, you can always use Lawrence in those situations. So it's a pretty clutch card. It's good to know it's there. Then you got 4 Strength of Raging Fires. You deal damage to a chosen character equal to the number of characters that you have in play. I got 4 of these ones. They're inkable, solid song. Most people know who are fans of Amber Song know this. But what they don't know is whenever somebody decides to somehow only put 1 Let the Storm Rage on in this deck, what the heck was I smoking when I came up with this? You deal 2 damage to a chosen character, you draw a card. It's the 1 Storm I have in this deck, and I really don't get why it's like this. I have Cinderella's. I could use Strength of Raging Fire, but I would have to have a hell of a lot of characters in order for it to be really, really effective. It's really interesting that I decided to go this route. I don't know why. Maybe I just ran out of ability to Storm Rage on. I don't know. It's a common card. It should be something that I have plenty of, but that's just the way it is. I do have 2 I'm Still Here's. A chosen character gets resist +2 until the start of your next turn. And then you can also draw a card. There's a little bit of card draw as a result of that. Maybe I did that to make up for the fact that I don't have storms, maybe. And then I've got 1 World's Greatest Criminal Mind. You banish chosen character with 5 strength or more. Maui comes out on the field. World's Greatest Criminal Mind. Go ahead and sing that. It's totally fine. You should be good. Until they put out another one, and then you're screwed. And then I've got 4 Rapunzels, or Rappies as I like to call them. Rapunzel gifted with healing. When you play this character, you remove up to 3 damage from one of your characters. You can draw a card for each damage removed this way. It also does quests for 2 at the same time. So, really solid card. It's another big staple. I honestly don't think I could have ever done Amber Steel songs if I didn't have Rapunzel. I do have Rapunzel, and thus I keep Amber Steel songs, no matter how ridiculous this deck looks. For the 4 drops, let's continue on. I've got 2 Prince Naveen's. When you play this character, you may play a song with cost 6 or less for free. A lot of targets in this deck, despite how ridiculous these decks look. There's plenty of songs to be had in this deck, and it's a 6 drop, so like it can sing songs with cost 6 or more, and that's pretty much every song that's in this particular deck. You can use it really quickly to kind of do things like hit Along King Zeus, deal 5 damage to chosen character or location. I've got 3 of these ones. Maybe that's the reason why I'm less dependent on Storm, because if I have Prince Naveen and I got a couple of those ones, they can sing Along King Zeus really quickly. I also do have the Troubadour at my disposal. You never know when I need them. But yeah, there is that. And then I think here's the last of the bollocks I do have. I have 2 Find My Platinums. When you sing this, you banish all items. I think I put this in at a time when items were supposedly going to be a really big deal in the meta. It's not to say that Ruby Sapphire items still is a problem. It can be, but I don't expect it to be that prominent of a thing in the meta. In particular, in my local meta, there's not a whole lot of item builds. But just in case, it's there. And if it's not, it's inkable. You can always just ink it, and then it'll just like sit in your inkwell and just kind of do its job of like getting you the currency that you need. Now onto the 5 drops. I've got 1 5-drop character, and it's Bagheera. It is a bodyguard. During an opponent's turn, when this character is banished, you deal 2 damage to each opposing character. If this gets popped off, all of a sudden it's to grab your sword. Now, I do have Grab Your Sword in this deck. Deal 2 damage to each opposing character. But you can also get it in character form, and you can also take out a character along the way at the same time too. This is all a matter of protecting your characters. It is a little bit late in the game because it is a 5-drop, but it's about that banishment ability. It's a pretty sweet ability to have. It also does quest for 2, which is really nice. And then, since this is a songs deck, you can't have a songs deck without 4 Whole New Worlds. Each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. Basically, what you're doing is you're putting your whole hand out, and then having one of your sing Whole New World, and then the process starts again, but now you have a whole bunch of toys that you can play with. Start putting stuff down on there, swarm the board. That's basically the whole point of Steel Song. Before you know it, you have all the control that you need, and just kind of keep going. Now, I do have 3 Miss Biancas. If you have an ally character in play, you pay 2 costs less to play this character. That's the reason why I have all these allies at my disposal. I've got the Troubadour. I've got Mr. Smee. I've got Lawrence. So like those 8 characters alone can make this make having this card worth it. It's also a 5/5, which is really strong, really nice. And I don't know about my luck, how my luck goes, but usually in a lot of cases I end up having always allies in my disposal. So I can usually have this at some point and then put Miss Being out in the next turn. And then the last card I've got in my hand in my selection is Cinderella Stout-Hearted. It's a ship 5, resist 2, and whenever you play a song, you may challenge ready characters this turn. This gives this Cinderella a little second shot at life if you can pop it off at turn 5. It does quest for 3. It's really strong. It's also protective of itself, and so it can end up being a pretty clutch card in its hand. I thought about having 2 of them, but like one is usually a good enough situation to kind of have, and hopefully you have the card well in hand, this game well in hand. But I don't know how it's going to be in this deck. It's going to be really interesting. This is highway robbery. I don't get why this is here, why only one of these is here. Find My Platinum, I think it's a little bit outdated given the meta, but it's the 4 seed for a reason. And it's still there. It was the 2 seed for quite a while until Blue Steel dropped it in its place. But you never know. Who knows if what happens in the Nerdstrom House Championship could fall in the first round. It could go deep into the next round. I don't know. It could. It's like things can always weird things can happen in the Nerdstrom House Championship. So all you got to do is stay tuned, and we will see. What becomes of this. So you've already seen Ruby Amethyst, the number 6 seed. You've already seen the number 5 seed Emerald Steel deck, and now you've seen the Amber Steel Songs number 4 seed. Crazy as this deck is, but there's still more to come. And on this coming Sunday, you'll be able to see the final 3 seeded decks at disposal. And then after that does happen, we'll get the Nerdstrom House Championship underway. So until then, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your feedback on any deck profiles that I do have, as well as in my gameplay, is always appreciated. I try to do videos once every Sunday evening and Thursday morning, provided life doesn't get in the way of things, to which if it doesn't, then it doesn't happen. But I try to be consistent as best as possible, especially during the House Championship. I want to make sure that you guys can see the events as they unfold. So until next time, my name is Nerdstrom, reminding you that even though I play against myself, it doesn't mean that you have to. Go out, make new friends, and let's get nerdy.